Hello my beautiful people, welcome to your weekly general taroscope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so sorry about the light situation with the board. It's so dark here today, so unfortunately I'm working with what I can. Sorry about last week as well. It was literally the busiest week for me. Like it's just been insane. So thank you so much for all of your patience. With that said, if you would like to book your personal reading with me, you can do so on the website address below. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and this resonates, hit the subscribe button. With that said, I would like to bless all of my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity, and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So this is for all of us, right? This week, for the message for the week, what I actually saw, and it's kind of like an odd message. It's like a really convoluted one. So you're going to have to kind of pick out the elements that speak to you, as always, really. So what I actually saw was somebody carrying what looked like these gold bangles, and they were jiggling, and that part of it, like they were jangling, like the sound that they made. That seemed to be really important, and a part of it was being prepared to carry the load without making a sound, right? So sometimes in life, the burdens that we are given, and this isn't saying like don't complain or don't have your moment of feeling how you feel. This is just that it's kind of like a moment where there is a reason you are experiencing what you are experiencing. You can't shirk your spiritual responsibility at this moment in time. You have to be here and you have to be present. And you know what? Like, if whatever you are, like, be prepared to carry the load was the message. All of us, in some way, shape, or form, this week are going to be carrying something that feels like a burden. For some people, it's going to be their health. For some people, it will be their financial stuff. For others, it will be their work. For some people, it will be family. The whole array of life things that we have. Whatever challenge you have this week that you are effectively working on or working through, there is a purpose and a reason behind it. And if you spend, it reminds me of that meme, it says, the universe says you have to, you're going to have to tread this path in order to something or other. And then the guy's got his hands in the air and says, fine, I'm going to complain the whole time. This week, the jangling of the bracelets represents that complaining energy. If you spend all of your time and effort complaining, it's kind of like being on the treadmill, right? If you start telling yourself, like, I can't do it anymore, I'm tired, like, I can't breathe, that's exactly what you get. Whereas if you wait a few moments, minutes, seconds, whatever it is, you get that feeling in you that says, no, I can do this and I can push past it. The jangling of the bracelets this week represents, for me, it's our complaining nature. We do that as human beings, right? This week, if you spend all of your energy complaining about what you carry, you're going to miss what the deeper message of what that happens to be. Currently, I have two situations unfolding in my life, one of which is very, very difficult and very heartfelt for me. One and the other one is kind of linked to it, but it's not as severe. Those things, if I can spend all my time complaining about them, or I can just work through them as they arise, right? And this is the message that we're being given. So my advice to you is, carry it, speak about how it makes you feel, for sure. Express your exasperation, your hurt, your anger, your frustration, your fear. Express those things, but don't do it to the point that you miss the reason behind what the universe is having you experience at the moment. It really does feel like in a lot of ways, a lot of us are going through a metamorphosis right now. We all are, all the time, right? But this week especially, and I kind of feel like what's happening is a very big transition point. And if you miss what the deeper message of the thing that you're just about ready to start releasing happens to have been all this time, what it's all really been about, if you miss that, you don't get to take that knowledge forward with you, and it's going to be important for something else. And the image that I have in my mind as I talk about that is so trivial, and I know a lot of you are going to be like, did he just quote Harry Potter? Right, but it's the only one that I can think of that makes sense. You know, when he's got the egg thing, and they say without the clue that's inside this, you're not going to be able to get to your next step. Now, it doesn't mean that it's going to be detrimental and your life's going to end if you miss the point of this message, but you may not get the depth or the richness of life that you're going to get from this next version of yourself if you don't take that spiritual learning or lesson forward with you. So pay attention to what you're experiencing, and more importantly, allow the reason why to unfold within you. For our destiny card for the week, the overarching energy theme that is working through or in our lives as a collective is the Hierophant card, right? Makes total sense. When it comes to the PTB, the powers that be, the people in places of power, the people in government, the corridors of power themselves, there are a lot of shifts and ripples taking place at this moment in time. I'm sure that everybody is more than aware. The fact that we have this as the destiny card though, the big message here, this is not a week to allow, and this feeds into this whole idea. If you're complaining and you're just like, oh, you know what, I'm under it right now. If you stay in that energy, you may be leaving yourself susceptible to have the wool pulled over your eyes. One of the other aspects of this card, I'm forever learning, you know, I'm always reading different bits and bobs about tarot, and I do that as, you know, to try and build and grow my understanding of the cards and the practice of reading tarot. One of the messages of this card is as well, it's about sleight of hand, you know, deception, like look over here so I can do this over there. If you spend your time in that, you know, just with the clanking and the complaining and all the rest of it, you might miss whatever else is going on for you at a deeper level, and also what's taking place on the wider world stage. Going to be a very interesting week for all of us in some way, shape or form, for sure. What else was I looking for? Yes. So let's pull a direction card to see what comes up there. How do we best utilize this knowledge that has come through? We've got the Wheel of Fortune, right? So knowing that everything in life is cyclic. So whatever it is that you're experiencing as a burden, as a challenge, as a hiccup this week, just know that whatever it is, it's going to pass. And more importantly, with the Wheel of Fortune, staying on the right side of karma is going to be really important for you this week. I'll give you an example. Just because somebody cuts you up on the road doesn't mean you have to cut the next person up. If you pull yourself out of that perpetuating cycle, you create something so much better, not just for the world, but ultimately for yourself as well. This is a week where, as a direction, you really want to think about whatever it is that you're putting out into the world. And this is definitely advice that I could follow for myself. I have to be honest with you, and I know it's not something that you guys necessarily associate me with, but I tell you, this week, as in the week that I'm recording this, I have been so angry, like rage angry. Not, you know, I'm not shouting or anything like that, because that's not really my rage. When my rage comes up, it's kind of like just that silent bubble, you know, like that causes the twitch in the eye. You know, that's me. That's what I've been feeling this week, and it's very much about these situations. But I believe I'm coming to a point where I'm going to understand exactly what all of this has actually been about. And yeah, you know, I'm ready for it. I really am, regardless. And I will be happy to be rid of said situations, as I'm sure all of you will with yours as well. For our insight card, what's coming in or what may we need to know? We have the Tower card, right? So this kind of suggests that these first 2 weeks are just a prelude to some of what is coming up for all of us in some way, shape or form. Now, the fact that we've got the Tower card underneath the Hierophant card, when it comes to the PTB, when it comes to the people in charge, it does look like we are about to see some very shocking news come forward. This could be something that's revealed about a person in power or a celebrity maybe. It could also be where a change of the seats of power. The reason I say this is because in my mind I'm seeing, you know, that not musical chairs, you know, like Ring of Roses. I just get this sense that there's going to be a shift taking place this week that maybe a lot of people aren't necessarily happy about. Just something to be aware of. Now, look at this. Out of 2 decks of 78 and the potentials and the possibilities, we've pulled 2 major cards. That tells me that this is going to be a very big week. It's going to be a very important week. This could be a big week for big realizations on a personal level, and it could be a big week for something coming full circle or something being divulged that maybe, just maybe, they didn't want us to see or to know. You know, that's one way that this could play out. And like I said, I do feel like there's going to be a shift of the keys or the seats of power, so to speak. So it's going to be a very, very interesting week for all of us in some way, shape or form. And the fact that we're thinking about, what are your challenges? What are the things that you are carrying? What are the burdens? What are the challenges? What are the things that you're working through at the moment? What are they teaching you? What have you learned through this process? What is it that through your denial of something that you want, where have you become stronger? Through your through your denial of anything, what have you learned? What have you learned underneath the strain of the burden that you've been carrying so far? That's going to be the big realization this week, and that is going to be the key piece of information that helps you move forward to create a better future for yourself, for sure. All right, so it's going to be a really interesting week for all of us. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up, or a lot of you do, like when you'll send things or you'll post things and you'll be like, Raf, this, you know, like this is the world event that you were talking about. And I love those moments. Thank you so much for all of you that do that, because it kind of helps me, you know that I'm on the right path. At the end of the day, I am just a human being like everybody else. All right, so with that said, take care, and I'll see you soon.